everybody. Guess
Hey!
what? We're back. It's Friday. Having fun with J&J, and this is the final show of the year.
Oh my
If
gosh.
you can believe it.
Yeah. Oh, this went quick.
I know, right? So we hope everybody had a wonderful and a very Merry Christmas. And we have loads of stuff that's coming up for next year. 2025. It may be an odd year, but it's going to be a great year.
Yes.
I think for everybody, for all our crafters and artisans and artists.
Yes.
And today, Jeanette out on her trek and her quest to find the most amazing crafters, artisans
You picked
ever in our country. She found us a wonderful, wonderful lady who does amazing work. I got to see her stuff again. I don't get to see it till the night before. It's Jeanette's gift to me. Thank you, Jeanette. And we are going to have a chat with her today to see what she's up to and what she's got going. But she's an artist. She's a crafter, an illustrator. As usual, we get the most amazing people on our show. They're never run of the mill. They're always very special. So welcome, Dina Marie Abramov. Say it to me. Abramov. Okay, because I'm the worst at that. I just do first names.
I just say it in Spanish. I go Abramo.
Oh,
that's right.
Miss Overachiever. But welcome, Dina. We're so happy to have you on the show. I'm gonna send it over to my cohort in crime over there, Jeanette, because she gets to start talking with you, and we're gonna find out all about you and let people know that you're out there.
Yes, absolutely. So you're probably trying to find out how I found, the crafter, this beautiful lady that I found. Well, it was on the Trinity Lives. If you saw me on Trinity Lives former, was it 2 weeks ago, something, or last week, something like that. I was with Jenny and Jeffrey, and they were following me as I walked around Trinity Farmers Market. And waha, look who I found, Dina. And I was like, hey, Dina, would you like to be on TV? And of course she said, yes.
Always like them when they say yes.
Yes, when they say yes. So here's Dina.
I'm gonna put her over here so we can see her. Yes. So we can see our beautiful art.
Dina, how I know not many people know your story and how you started, and we don't either. So how did you start?
Well,
beautiful paintings of pets.
Well, this is what I tell everybody. I started, I think, at 7 when I had my little Scotty dog. I started drawing her, and then I would draw a lot of animals, and I was always very into animals as a child. And in high school, I had the best art teacher. She had me doing the anatomy of the dog. So dogs, were my initial animal that I would draw, and then I started to paint them. Interestingly enough, though, I started to do country folk art and got into cats in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, got it.
And so I was painting cats on wood. I was painting signs and all kinds of things. And I ended up having a country shop in upstate New York in an old barn. I was painting a lot of farm animals, and you know how country was very big back then.
Yep.
And, I did shows. I did craft shows, 48 a year. That's how I ended up, becoming really involved in it as a professional. So 48 shows, and it was a lot of work, but I love it.
A lot of work.
Wow, that's interesting. And so you went ahead and started. What made you come up with the idea? Hey, you know what? I'm gonna turn it into a business.
Well, I was in my 20s, and I was the craft shows were the big thing, and I ended up planning a date. I remember March 1990. I was going to quit my job at the bank. First, I worked at a veterinarian's, and then I went to a bank for the money. And after that, I thought, these craft shows are doing so well, I think I can make money full time. So I quit my job at the bank, and I started to do shows every weekend, like I said, 48 a year. And that was it. I was hooked, and I would stay up all night. I mean, I was pretty much doing this full time.
That is so brave. It really is, to stop and go full time, even if you were doing well.
It wasn't all about the money. It was just because I really loved what I did, and And ever since then, I have to admit that a few times I've had to take other jobs part-time and work, through divorce. I have to get another job, but I was never fulfilled like I am with the art. And I knew that this is my calling. And, like, I think what happened was I got divorced and I ended up losing some of my pets and having to leave some behind. And then that's when it turned, I was still working on signs and vintage, vintage creations. And then I ended up losing the pets. And that's when I got into a whole nother field, which was pet portraits. And that was like something I had never done before. And next year it'll be like 20 years that I can't believe it's already been 20 years that I started doing pet portraits, and that took off. And that was it seems like, being an artist, there's always something new that you can create, and it turns into another business and it rolls into something else. I mean, I still have ideas now of other things I want to do.
That's the life of a crafter. Idea. I mean, it comes in our sleep. It comes when we're awake. It comes when we're eating. It comes when we're driving. It's just ideas. It comes when you're talking about ideas, right? Her could be talking. Oh, we have an idea, So yeah, you're a true creative spirit right there.
Have you found that your style? I know in the 80s we were doing the cottage look and the Holly Hobby, and everybody wanted the French country home. And if you look behind me, that pink, I can't see it, but it's the flowers, the pink flowers. That's a painting that I did from fabric in the 80s.
Wow.
The whole country cottage rose thing. So has that changed? Has your style changed, or your?
Definitely. If I showed you the pictures I did, and it's basically from 1990 to 2000, it was very country, like checkerboards and birdhouses and all those primitive colonial greens and maroon, the dark colors. They were, I still did animals. I did my cats, but they were very country, and they were very, I guess, dark. And also they've changed since I moved to Florida, because I'm doing a lot more seascapes. And I've got brighter colors now. So that was something I didn't use back in the 90s. I didn't do anything bright. So now it's nice. I've got some brighter colors. And my portrait work, it's a little more realistic. So I'm not.
Your stuff is, and it's really hard. People don't understand how difficult it is to paint dogs because they don't have a lot of angles.
Right.
So you don't get the shadows and the to make them look realistic. It's really hard because they just don't have the angles that humans have, and part of their bodies are kind of one.
They're all odd. They're odd shaped. Whereas a cat, when I was working on cats, and cats were very simple for me because cats are pretty much the same shape. Their faces, it's just their hair makes them a little different.
Their coloring.
Siameses are a little different, but for dogs, forget it. There's no, you got a Great Dane, and then you could paint a Chihuahua, or then you've got, the dogs with all the hair, the Newfoundlands, and it's just each one is unique, different sizes, so they are very, they can be very challenging.
And people love their pets. I just had a friend that lost his, and I made him a bone with their picture in it. But if he's seeing this, he's gonna want a picture of his dog, and it was a boxer, and he loved. Her name was Mia, and when I went over there, me and her really were buds, man. We were buds and everything. And I know I'll probably send you one of her pictures so you can do it, and maybe I'll get you for that so he can have it, because I made a bone, and in the bone it says, "Gone but never forgotten. I'll see you in doggy heaven." And then it has a circle, and in the circle is the picture.
Picture.
Yeah. But that's just to comfort, because a lot of people, they love their pets, and especially I feel that after COVID and during COVID, pets were highly taken. They went to the shelters. You couldn't find a dog because people were adopting. They wanted. And now it's like everybody now is getting dogs. So now they realize, that is a proven fact, scientific fact, that anyone who has pets lives longer than someone that doesn't.
That's right. They're therapeutic. My dog Mario, who was the model for my business, he's the black lab on all of my business cards and my advertising.
He's a local.
He was a pet therapy dog. He literally went to the hospitals with me, and he went to hospice with me, and he was the best. I mean, he was like my heart dog. I just can't tell you. He was a working dog, and he was very therapeutic.
Who it was. So let me go ahead and present here your website so they can see the dog you're talking about.
Someone says we don't deserve dogs, and it's the truth. I wanted to bring people's attention. You're going to see it on here, but she also does greeting cards, right?
Yes, I
with her paintings.
Yep.
But that's the dog she's talking about. Isn't he beautiful?
Is he beautiful?
Oh my gosh, that is.
Labs are like the best dogs. They are.
And
that's him in the picture with me. You could see that photograph. That's me and Mario. He was older by then, and they took that photograph when I illustrated the book. And he was all gray, you could see, but he was smiling.
Yeah.
The other Labrador up there was my nephew's lab, and I got a picture of him. That was Cooper, and Cooper only lived to be 7. He had a terrible seizure.
Oh.
But this dog, another really beautiful soul. You know?
I can hear you got a turtle too.
Oh, that's the that picture is called Run Your Own Race. Now that's my whimsical work. That's my fun work.
That is nice.
I started to do whimsical when I got sick. I got Lyme disease back in 2014 when I lived in Connecticut, and I was so sick. And I actually started. I actually painted a lot of these Labrador inspirational paintings to get through it. So they all have different quotes, and I can show you later, but that picture is called Run Your Own Race, and I've had to slow down since I was always on the go. 24/7 I could be up. But now I slow down, so I painted this painting with all these dogs running, and they're all on like bicycles and skateboards, and except for Mario the lab, which represents me, I have to slow down, so I'm on the turtle.
And you're on the turtle.
So that's kind of the story behind that. That's why it's called Run Your Own Race. So
that is funny. That is too cute. Now over here, I noticed you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and Etsy.
Yeah, and I'm not real good with the social media. I'm on Facebook more than the others, and I have the Etsy shop, but I don't get on the Twitter anymore. I've just I found that I had to slow down, and I have to pick and choose what I can do. So it's I'm so busy with the Etsy shop, so that's really where I do a lot of my work.
That you have a 10% proceeds go to Labrador Rescues and any other rescues. You also just did a St. Jude Research Hospital, which we just did a fundraiser for them.
I saw that you do donate. I love that. That's a great organization.
Is this Labrador Retriever
Rescue of Florida, who I was a volunteer for, but I've had to slow down, and I've unfortunately not been able to work with them, but I am still donating, and I rescued my dog from them. I was a volunteer as an adoption counselor, but it just got to be overwhelming this year. So, but I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it again because I really love the rescues.
Who's sure? This one.
That's me and Corey.
Oh.
She passed away 2 years ago. She was almost 15. Those are some of the different things that I've done. I've done community projects. I did Paint Your Pets parties with an animal shelter, an animal organization in Connecticut. I used to do a lot of Paint Your Pet. I used to teach Paint Your
Pet. Look at that. They're on Noah's Ark.
Yeah, that's what I was
saying. I did that for a climate. They had a big climate thing in Vermont, so that was Noah's Ark. And then I painted these Labrador. Actually, it was a different animal for each person, but I chose the Labrador, and this was like a fundraiser for an education foundation. And they would paint these animals and put them all around the businesses in town. So they're all fiberglass. So it's a beach scene, and the bottom picture is a mural.
Yeah.
So I did a couple murals for Our Companions Animal Sanctuary in Connecticut.
Wow.
And I would paint each person. They would give the portion of the money that they donated to me, I would give back to the animal rescue. They would have each person would get their pet painted on there.
So are these belonging to different people?
Yeah, the pets are all different for different people. So I put them all on a mural. It was like an 8
Oh
by
my
4
God.
foot by 8 foot. I did 3, I think I did 2 or 3 total murals. I can't remember. But
Wow,
each person would just donate money and have their pet painted. I got the idea from Dunedin because they had a wall, a whole wall full of animals. And
oh,
that's my book signing for Roxy, my
aw.
the book that I illustrated for that woman that had the she rescued a puppy in Tennessee, and she wrote a book. So she found me at a craft show, and
Aw.
that's how I got my first my illustration gig.
I just want to say that, can you go back to her lab phase?
Her lab.
Okay, so just from an artistic point of view, this is why her work is so really good. That expression on that dog is so absolutely phenomenal.
That's Mario.
You know, you can see his eyes, the kindness, but he's alert. Looks like he's looking for you. Looks like he's focused on something that he really needs to that's his job. So labs are working dogs, and they are aware of what their job is almost all the time, and they're not happy if they're not doing their job. So he's relaxed, he's not stressed, but he's focused, and it really is an amazing dog face. It's really, I have to say too, Dina, it's beautiful.
Thank you. There's a page with just Labrador retrievers, and I painted 2 black labs for a veterinarian who had found me. His wife commissioned me to do their 2 black labs, and it's on I think it's under Labrador Retriever. You can click on, you'll see Labrador
Paintings.
art. Yes, and those 2 dogs, there they are, Ripley and
Oh my goodness.
And Mario's to the right with the soccer ball. You'll see his drool. But Ripley and Geiger were they were challenging. I had to put these 2 dogs together, and they were beautiful. I got to go out and meet the dogs.
And they're black.
Beautiful, yes. So they were real challenging, but I love painting black dogs. It's just amazing.
And a lot of people don't like black dogs. Do you know that?
It's tough.
Why?
They shy away from them.
They're tough to paint.
This one is so cute.
That Cooper, yes. Now the 2 on the bottom, they gave me terrible photos. There you go with the bandanas. The one on the left, the one on the right was my brother's. The one Smokey, yeah, that was Daisy. She was a rescue. But the 2, that Smokey and Coco, they were tough because Coco had passed away and they didn't have any pictures. So I told her, you need to get me some good pictures. That's all she could find me was a picture of the dog looking in a really odd position. So I duplicate whatever they give me because that's what
it's the eyes that are really, really good.
Thank
you. I love this. Look at these eyes. They're gorgeous.
That's Daisy. I went up to my brother's house. My sister-in-law wanted to give him a 40th birthday present, and I took pictures of Daisy outside, and she was like 13 maybe. But I took the pictures, and that was the best painting because I got really great pictures outside of her, and I could see her eyes. I mean, that's for me, painting a really good quality painting depends on the photograph. If I get a blurry old photo from 2000, it's going to show in my work.
Right.
So I have to improvise a little. There's my
I love the beach one.
My fun. That's the fun, whimsical Labrador art that I love so much. That's called work, rest, and play. So you can see one's working, one's resting, and one's playing.
How big is this one? How big do you make them?
That's tiny, and I actually have that one right here.
Okay.
And I got it.
Look how cute that is.
8 by 8.
Put her big again.
So originally this was part of my Labrador book that I made. So the paintings were really tiny. They were like 5 by 5, which is really small for me. I don't really like painting small. So I did this book.
See her.
Very small paintings. I mean,
but because I didn't get to see it. Jenny, put her big so we can see her.
Okay. You're big.
So this is the book, but I had a woman who had her own publishing company who she just retired, so it's no longer in print anymore. But I decided I'm going to do another one anyways in a hardcover with a lot more because I did about 40 or 50.
Jenny has
So
busy hours.
all these paintings are up, and they're in my portfolio. I sell them as cards. So they're all whimsical, but they're also, like I said, they all have meanings. So this one is life's a journey, enjoy the ride, and they're all sitting in a car. I'm trying to do this.
Wow.
I love it.
That is the Barnegat Lighthouse in New Jersey. So sometimes I'll use, like,
You're
I'll
right
use,
a little bit. There you go to the right. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I love
I'm all
that.
confused. But this one is my best Christmas seller. I've been getting orders. I sell these as cards, and these are like 3 different color labs, and I get custom orders. I just, made a custom.
So do you have someone who does the printing for you for your artwork, or do you do it yourself?
What I do is I buy my card stock from a special company in Colorado. They sell the best photo card, and I get the printer and I do all the printing except for my Rainbow Bridge, which is my sympathy cards, because I sell these wholesale and I do a lot with the veterinarians. I print out the Rainbow Bridge poem, and then I sell the actual cards. So I get these printed from a printer because I can't keep up with the quantity. So when I have large quantities of cards, I get them printed professionally because I'll run out of ink, But for the most part, I have a really good printer, so I can print all my cards. Let me see if I can find.
Now you also have right
Run
here.
Your Own Race.
Oh, that's the turtle one. I like that one.
This is Run Your Own Race, and I printed this with my printer, but I do have to buy that special card. Stock.
I see here that you do animal art lessons, other painting classes.
Yes, I used to do that. Right now, I don't have a location. I had I moved down here and I had a studio I rented in Dunedin, and then I moved a little further north, so I couldn't keep that studio, and the space was so small. So I actually originally went to like adult education, and I would teach there. And then I did paint parties, wine and design. I started with them. And so I would do the paint parties, and then I did individual classes where people could sign up, and I would do, I would help them paint their pets. So it's fun,
Do you have days? We talk a lot of the. Sometimes I talk to different artists and crafters where you have a drought, or you're kind of like in a rut, and you like want to change things up.
Yeah.
Or how do you deal with that?
Well, the summertime
you really have monetized. You've really done well. I mean, I know you've been doing this for a while, but a lot of one of the biggest things that we talk about for crafters and artisans is able to live off your art, live off your crafting, because they consider it a hobby.
Yeah.
And so they don't take it seriously. And what you're doing is one of the hardest things. Oh, look. One of the hardest things to do is to monetize your work and keep it pure, keep it you.
And you hit on something very important, and it's really hard sometimes to stay focused and motivated and your spirits up when you're in a slump, or when times are when things are slow. And summertime here in Florida can be really tough because nobody goes out to the fairs, as much. It's too hot. And a lot of times it's just the sales are down in my Etsy shop. I rely on my Etsy shop. That basically gets me through. It really has been worthwhile for me. It took me a long time, but I do rely on that shop to get orders.
But you have a special niche. So I have an Etsy shop, but it's so there's so many others that are there. So you have a really good thing because you have a real specialty. Like, I don't think there's many. There might be pet portraits, but they're either AI or they're photography,
right?
Or they're more of an illustrative type of thing. They're not as realistic.
Right.
So you probably have an excellent niche there.
Well, part of the Etsy sale, majority of the Etsy sales, I would say, are my cards. Those sympathy cards, and all of my cards, and my Labrador. I have a following of Labrador Retriever customers, so that really holds. That's really what my main sellers are, believe it or not. I've just developed so many different designs, and that's what keeps me going. I have a wonderful customer in New York met at a Labrador Retriever show. It was a specialty show for purebred dogs, and they judged them. And she's followed me on Facebook, and she just is such a wonderful, loyal customer. And I'm trying to create new cards, so I'll Halloween and Christmas. So I've got that's what keeps me going. All these holidays, and I also have a let me see. I'll show you one of my.
Who's that right next to you?
This is
just set up.
This is Griff. Say hi, Griff. This is my barking lab that I rescued.
He's beautiful.
He is gorgeous.
10 years after Mario passed, I got another black one. I wasn't going to get another black, and I got him, but he's nothing like Mario.
I know, isn't that funny?
He's a piece of work, but I love him. He needs a lot of help, but he's a good dog. He does love me. He can just be a barker. You know?
That's okay. That's who he is.
Yeah, I never had a barker before. But this is my Halloween card that I did for her.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And she has all black labs. So I had to take this painting. They're all in a pumpkin. I was thinking of Cinderella when I did this, remember the pumpkin. So I had to change it for her and do all black labs, and all of the dogs were black. But I also have a shop downtown that consigns a lot of my work, and she sells a lot of these little the black Labrador, the square paintings and the prints and my cards. So it's not really as much custom portraits that carry me. It's these little things, the small things, the cards, the prints, and the pet memorials. I do a lot of custom rainbow bridge, those rainbow bridge cards. I will make a custom rainbow bridge on a slate or a painting for that person, whatever their pet, they'll send me a picture. Sometimes they're cats, sometimes they're dogs, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's 4 or 5. I did 11 cats once on a rainbow.
Oh my goodness. Do you have a hard time keeping track of where everything's at?
I take pictures of everything, if that's what you mean.
No, I mean, like, because you have consignment, you have Etsy. So you have different venues that you're, like some people just have a hard time at having a craft show and keeping track of their inventory. Yes. So you have several places that you're actually selling to or working with. So you have a system.
Right. I think because of the shows have died down for me, and I've physically been challenged more, so I've been doing less shows. Yeah. So that is when it gets really challenging for me, is when I'm doing a show and I've got to fill an Etsy order, and I've got to fill up the shop because it's holiday time. That's when it gets very stressful for me. Christmas time was overwhelming, but I did good. I got everything done, but it's tiring. So yeah,
now you can rest for a bit.
That's when it gets really hard for me, is the holidays. But I'm looking forward to January now, because I can start fresh. I'm illustrating my own book now about Mario and Dalton, and I'm going to start doing more cards, some vintage cards and some different cards, because I really want to start a card charity. I really love cards.
Oh, I like that.
That's my next adventure. So,
well, let me know when the book's, and I'll put you in the bookstore.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's going to take me time. It's in my spare time, because I've got to, feed myself first. So I've got to do shows.
Yeah, January is our month for crafters. We get to relax and breathe and go,
yeah.
Okay, we're getting ready for next year. I went right now to a store, and they were already getting ready for Valentine's. I'm like, we need a break. Enjoy January, okay?
I know.
They're doing ahead of time.
Well, the problem is too, especially because you're shipping things now, and so you really can't wait for the last minute.
No,
you really have to plan. The end of January, you have to already have your orders in so that they could get there for February.
Right.
And so it's and Jeanette and I were talking this year because Thanksgiving was so close. It was, so close to Christmas. It was only a month. Usually we have like a 6 week window.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even want to do lights. I was like, I got to take them down in 3 weeks, because I don't like doing lights before Thanksgiving. I want to give Thanksgiving its due.
Yeah.
But it was really hard this year because it was that month of November,
it was rushed. Yeah,
it was
really rushed. And that's the same thing with the shows. I think I met Jeanette at a Christmas market, and then the next day I didn't realize they were having a big Christmas tree lighting, which I missed that show. I had no idea. And then
Yeah, it was
Christmas,
a 2-day market. I found out from the guy that did the woods. He did a 2-day market. I was like, wow. Anyway, it is funny how I never picked up. I always do like a verse inspiration to go into the thing, and it's funny because me and Jenny and all of us, it's saying I'm okay and I'm on my way. That's the day, and I'm like, man, do we feel like I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. So it's funny that it says here, and it's coming from Proverbs 4:18. But the path of the just and righteous is the light of dawn that shines more and more until its full strength and glory. The perfect day is done. Proverbs 4:18. And then it says, I know with all my heart that God is not angry with me because I have not arrived. He is pleased that I am pressing on, that I am staying on the path. If you and I will just keep on keeping on, God will be pleased with our progress. Keep walking the walk. A walk is something taken one step at a time. This is an important thing to do and to remember.
Right.
So
every day.
Every day is like getting
every day I say this is the day the Lord has made. Old things have passed away and all things are made new again.
Yes.
Always trying, and I do keep God first, and I know this is, I couldn't do this without God, but staying in the present, that is the biggest. That's a key, but that's always challenging sometimes.
Yes, it's so hard, and it because we get up in the morning and I'm like toss and turn, and I go, what do I have to do today? Oh, I gotta do that. Okay, and we go, and then we see things happen and things that change, and change is constant when you're doing TV. It's constantly changing. So behind the scenes is work, and that requires a lot of motivation.
You know what I did this weekend? My daughter came over. Haven't seen her for a while, and she was staying with my other daughter, so I went over there. And my son-in-law had put out this ginormous 2,000-piece puzzle.
Oh my goodness!
Jigsaw puzzle, and we love them. We do them all the time, but this one was huge. Oh. And I looked at it, and I was like, "Holy moly! This is just like a monster." And so my daughter and I sat, and we were chit-chatting, but mostly, we were concentrating on our sections, and we'd shift positions and stuff. But what I actually thought of when I was doing this puzzle is, as crafters especially, we kind of looked at the big picture, and it's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And when I stopped and I focused on this one section of the puzzle, and I worked that section came together. And I put away all the things of trying to find that piece on there and that piece on there. I just said, okay, I'm working on this window. And I looked for all the window pieces, and I worked. And we finished it. I mean, she finished it. God bless her. She had to leave, and she finished it. But it's the same thing as we get overwhelmed. Yeah. And especially with crafters' heads, artists' heads, we're always in our head. Mm-hmm. And the way that we get out of our head is to actually make something, do something.
That's right.
And so the puzzle is the same way. If we just take that bite out, focus on the one thing that you can do, and then once you feel that you've succeeded in that, it's going to take you to the next one, and then you feel better.
I know what you're saying. Exactly. I did the clocks. I showed her the clocks I do. My next step was putting lights in the clock, which I succeeded with that. I was like, oh, look, now I have lights in the clock. Okay, now I got two things, the clock and the lights in the clock. So I'm kind of glad. It's true. Once you mastered the thing that you love most, and then you go, what can I do to it? How can I change it? Oh, I can add lights, and there you go. You got lights. So there you go.
It really helps that you can stay that it's that focus, which I'm sure it's the same way. Like, I get focused, but then I'm all over the place.
Right.
Because I've got this to do, and I got this to do, and this does, and prioritize, and then someone calls me, and I have to deal with this, and you get it kind of exhausts you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then if it's something that you either don't like know how to do, that's where the procrastination comes in.
Yeah.
Because you got to figure it out. You're like, okay, I already know how to do this.
Right.
Like the busy work, I know how to do the busy work. So the busy work doesn't have to be done, but you'd rather do that because you can do it as opposed to sit there and figure out something that you don't know how to do.
Right.
So I think that's perfect. And I look at your stuff and I'm just thinking, wow, you really are a role model for other artists because it's very, very difficult to translate to supporting yourself, which is what we want for all of our crafters.
Yeah.
We're not promising them to be multimillionaires or hit the circuit and make a zillion in 6 months, but don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
Yeah.
It's work.
It's a lot of work.
It's work. I don't care if you're writing a book. I don't care if you're making pot holders. I don't care if you're painting or you're woodworking. It is work, and
you have to put the time in. Yeah.
I'm reading this book, and you know, we got that from The Voice in the Head. Remember, he said it. He got a book called Sell Like Crazy, but it's not what you think. He literally says that is hard work. And once you get up in the morning, nobody's gonna give you nothing. And don't believe the hype that you see on the internet. This man, he says you have to think like a millionaire and you have to go for what you want. And once you go for what you want, you're gonna succeed because you keep going. Which brings me back. I mean, when she wrote this, she likes to add words and verses, which I don't like. Everybody knows that Joyce adds words. I like to go to the direct Bible, and it is so much clearer than so it's Proverbs 4:18, and it says, literally, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. You see, so that's directly that's more like, okay, every morning is a new beginning. So every new beginning, you got to take the day that you have right in front of you and make something of it. You have to grab that day and say, okay, what am I gonna do this day for my business? What are you gonna do for your business today?
Yeah.
And you got to accomplish that. And then even if you come up with an idea, then research the idea. I mean, the guy breaks it down really good. I'm not a millionaire because he says it's not for millionaires. You're not going to become a millionaire, but you will be enough that you can sell your products. But it depends on how much work and oomph you put in it, right? And all of crafters, they put a lot of oomph in their work. You know, it's the point that we get stuck is how we're going to get it to the people. That's what people find that thing. And that's why Jenny and I made the channel, because, you know, this is something that is just a channel for crafters. And it's basically the crafters giving them an opportunity and the light to be seen all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And when it really, we just got to get this, you know, more out there, because once this really takes off, then we have things. But right now we're working, like this says, we're working until we get to where we want to be. Once we get to where we want to be, and then we decide what we're going to do next. It's like there's no stopping.
Dina brought up a point too about the pop-ups. They're limited. They're great. You get to interact with your customers, see what they like. But they really are physically demanding. And if you have weather, like Texas is like Florida, 110 degrees on a blacktop.
Yeah.
If you're selling soap or anything that's, you know, and just sitting there is hot.
Right.
And so you did 20 years of pop-ups?
I used to do 48 shows when I was doing the craft, you know, the woodworking. Now I had a husband back then, and I had I had a tent, and I had a lot of energy. I was young. It was different. And the shows, let me tell you, back then were so much more profitable because we didn't have the internet to compete.
Right.
And once 2000 hit, my shows started going downhill. Now, I also had a country shop, so that was another outlet. I could stay in my shop. but you always need to get out in the public. For me, it's very important. Even now, the shows aren't as profitable, but you don't know, if you're going to get an order from that. But yeah, they're very, very taxing on you, loading, unloading, setting up, taking down, unloading it again. So I have another idea that I'm going to end up getting a little small trailer and maybe trailer that to an event and do a little shop inside there. That way I don't have to unload and load, but we'll see how that goes. I've got all
we're working. My husband wants to buy a camper van, which we've been going back and forth, but I want to use it to go to pop-ups and meet crafters.
Those
interview them and talk with them, because
that would be great.
Yeah, it's hard to like I said, crafters get in their little niche and they want to like hunker down.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of moving the mountain to Muhammad. But I think isn't that how crafts and artists have always worked?
Yes.
Really, like
they
from
to the markets, right?
From the early days. And so we just have to like
hunker down again. That's all it is.
But
I know what you're talking about, the trailer, because I've been wanting to build one instead of buying one that they sell like $7,000. You buy just a plain trailer, and that's like what, 75, maybe $150, right? And then you build the walls, and then you build it like, if I want to have my clocks there and safe and don't fall, you make it your own of what you're selling,
right?
And then you take that and you unhook it. It attaches to my little Kia. I'll unhook it and put it in the spot and just open the door, and there you go. My store's done.
That's right. So there's no unpacking, no setting up a big heavy
nothing. Tent. It's just
it's funny too. It's like that my head starts going. Now they have like the restaurants that are in the little
yes, they have the food
kiosk things, and now they have places that they can park. And instead of going to one restaurant, you can go to 5 or 6 of them,
right?
And visit them. So, people are always going to find ways to market, but it is the biggest. Jeanette and I were just talking about this morning when we were talking. The marketing is I think it's about 75% of your business.
Yeah,
and it's
time consuming.
It's time consuming. It's rejection. It's people say, they love it, but
I don't love it. I'd rather be working. I've got my daughter-in-law who's very tech savvy. She's on all the she's trying to get me back on Instagram and doing a lot. And she says, you got to get out there. And I'm like, well, the more time I could spend a whole day on the computer. And then it's taken all my energy and I can't paint. And it's like, it's like a balance. And some of these,
I can't write anymore. I've got books in my head. I don't have time to write. And we need to talk to her, because that's one of the big things. I have like 7 platforms, and they all have platforms. So I've created Spirit. I have my bookstore. I have my personal. I have my Etsy shop. I have like all these things, and they all have their own, Facebook, Instagram, X. And so I'm constantly posting and trying to keep up with everything and make new content. And then, and I'm like, I have books I want to write. I've got a book in my head, and my illustrator's like, are you going to write it? Are you going to write it? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting to it. And I have I plan on a series for the book, a spinoff of the book. So yeah, it's that's what another thing we're trying to hook up people.
They do actually say, and people on TikTok, they said, this is my full-time job. I am on here and I sell my products, and they sell it, but they're on there all day.
Right.
And I'm like,
so where do you find the time and energy to create?
I'm like, every day, all day.
It's a lot. We have Spark Up Biz. We're collaborating with them.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michelle. She's like, they do she's actually a crafter, kind of, right? She said she does crafts, but she's more in line of the networking and the marketing. And what Jeanette and I are trying to pull together is where, like, my daughter does not want to be on camera, but she does the bookwork. And so I'm trying to make her product that we can have her make an income from. And then she does the bookwork for us. So if we could get people to start like collaborating and saying, I'll do your, like they have SEO classes and things that we need to do. So that's a big portion because it is very hard. You want to create. Yeah. The big joke for me is I'm still waiting to do those invoices, which I'll never do ever. They'll sit there until the cows come home, and I'll do it maybe, I don't know. And my daughter will come over and say, Mom, just give it to me. Just give it to me. Because I would rather be doing so. I'd rather be making a trailer. I'd be rather doing a book cover. I'd rather be writing. So if we could find that sweet spot for crafters to be able to have it set up where their stuff is marketed, they're making use of their screen time with social media, but they're also able to create is great. Because the stuff, honestly, the stuff you see on there, these are not run-of-the-mill people. These are production things that are being put out there because it's not real life. It's not. Right. Crafters can't afford they can't.
Yeah, I watch a lot of people on YouTube. I just get a lot of ideas, and I just wonder how, a lot of them are showing their work, and some of these people, I don't know how they do it, but they've got the energy that I can't keep up. They're videotaping themselves and they're creating, and it's like, how are you doing both? It's like a fine line.
Technology has become a beautiful thing. I now found just recently, it was just on last Friday, I found a TikToker selling. They have a store now. TikTok has a store, and they have a mechanical arm that you put your phone. It's a black arm like this, and it literally follows you. The program follows you wherever you go in the room. It follows you up and down. It can follow your face or body, and it goes like this. I brought one because I had to. Because
what do you mean, to film you when you're working?
It works like you're painting, right? Wherever you go, the arm will literally follow you up and down and go like this.
Is that freaky?
Yeah, it sounds like a little.
But I couldn't believe the price. Regular price is $64. They had it on sale for $32. I was like, I'm in. And I went those that I like. I have backgrounds, and I do the thing, but I want to do the painting, and I want it to follow me. And the arm, literally, the app.
Is it like a drone?
It's a black arm mechanical, and it will hold your phone literally, and it will follow you like that.
So it moves.
It follows you, and it goes like this, up, down, all around. I mean, I was like, what? I had to get it. I had to get it. But see, that's what you just saying. Like, how can they? That's all it is. They're using new technology. These new millennials, they use this technology, and it's like, how on earth are they doing that so professional? It's a freaking arm, man. I was like, what?
I don't know, Jeanette. I don't know, Dina. I don't know about.
It doesn't look like an arm. It's black. It's actually a black device. That holds your phone on the car. It's not an arm. It don't look like an arm. It's a black thing, like on my phone. You put your phone here, and the mechanical thing just goes like that.
But it has to fly. It's like flying around. It's like a drone.
It's not flying. It's literally standing still like this. And this is the mechanical arm on a base. This is your phone.
Okay, so you have to stay. So you have to stay in a frame.
Stay in the same area, pretty much.
You have to stay in the same area where it tells you how many degrees it goes, and it will follow you. The phone and the arm goes like this, and it goes up and down, and it follows you. And I'm like looking at this man, and he goes, and of course it was Oriental man that I really, I was like listening to. Thank God he had the very proper English, and he was showing how it follows you, and you put it in body, you tap it again, and you go, okay, take a picture, and you go like this, and it starts counting 5, 4, and it takes your picture. It'll take a video, you go like this, it'll take a video. I mean, it does everything. You don't have to touch the phone for nothing. And I'm like, really? And I mean, he's dancing, and the machine is following him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I guess it would be good because a lot of times you don't have a camera person.
No,
Right.
we have poles. Like I have a pole. It just
Yeah.
sits there.
I have the ring and stuff where you have to sit. So
Yeah, it just
yeah,
sits
when you
there.
try it, you let me know that it doesn't start like
Because it just sits there. My other post just sits there. That's it. You know, you have to change it if you
Right.
want. But this one literally just it's wow. I'm like, yes, an invention that really works, maybe.
Well, that's
well, we're
great.
gonna have to let Dina go. Poor thing, we've been yakking with her.
Oh, no, it's been
Your,
great.
your stuff is still just really amazing,
Thank you.
I have to say. So we're fans.
Thank
And
you very
so
much.
everybody take note. It's paintedbydina.com.
I put it from the beginning, so I'm sure they took all the notes on there, everything that I put.
And she's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
My area of town.
Yeah.
We had a guy from Georgia last week that went to Florida for his stuff.
Yeah, he was in that same
Oh, he was in the same fair?
Yes.
Really?
People, I mean, like I said, I got everybody's card.
Look at her. She's got like, but yeah, he drove, so that must be a big, that looks like a good
It's
location.
a 2-dayer. It was a 2-dayer. Yeah.
So, hopefully, Dina, we'll see you again.
Yes, I'd love to. And thank you for having me. This was a great experience. It was good for me. It makes me feel connected again. I get inspired. And it's always great to be around other artists and crafters. You know,
Yes.
it really helps.
We'd love to see other people. Like I said, we want new and different. And you're actually one of the more I don't even know how to say it. Like you've developed a system, you've got your products, you're creating new products, you're really running a very amazing craft artisan business.
Thank you.
And that, we see a lot of people that are halfway there, or they're working on it, or they're struggling. And I know you're struggling, so I'm telling people it's not that easy. But she's worked it to where it works for her, and she's able to use her skill or talent, her gifts, and not have to go back to the bank. Hey. When I can stop notarizing and I can go back and doing my art, I would be so happy.
We'll all go party when you stop
party. So thank you again.
Thank
you. We're gonna see you in the new year. I have a feeling.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can collaborate, all of us, and I mean, who knows with the
Who
fairs.
knows? We're trying to get together a we don't want to call it a convention. Maybe a giant marketplace of crafters somewhere. We want to call it something inviting and exciting. And
I think that would be great, where people can network with each other and maybe help each other with marketing. I used to do a lot of business classes for artists, and I used to go to a lot of workshops and events, and it's really helpful, and it gets people going. It helps everybody in different areas.
Yep. And we're not bankers, or we have different needs and different ways of looking at things. So it doesn't always help to just go to a small business seminar if you're an artist, because this stuff doesn't apply.
Around other artists and creators, because we have such a different way of life, and we really need, I really think it's important for us to stick together and network with each other. It really will help everybody if they want to have a profitable business, so. Well, thanks again for having me.
You're welcome, honey. Give the puppy a hug. I hear mine right there. I'm gonna have to go and give him water because he's flipping his water bowl right now. I can hear him going ding, ding, ding.
Well, they've all been pretty well behaved.
I know. They're all like, you just came in to check in to see what you were doing. That's great.
Loretta's been next to me all day. I heard her snore. I said, I wonder if they're hearing her snore.
No, I didn't hear her. Usually I see her. She's up on the bed.
Yeah.
Well, my guys passed out on the floor, so.
See?
It was great. Kept them quiet.
All right, we're gonna do the commercial, and then we'll do the final. You think?
Yeah, do the commercial.
All right, guys. Well, which one?
It's number 20, commercial, the creative spirit, right there. 20.
Got it. Okay. Bye, Dina.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Here we go. Cross your fingers.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, everybody. See you next year.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy New Year, everyone.